Boda boda oye! Na wafanyabiashara, comrades power! Thank you very much. On behalf of the Governor, Meru County, Deputy Governor, Madam Lega, I hope I got your name correctly. My colleague, ametoka kidogo, Mheshimiwa Rahim Daud, who is my friend and we have been with him in Parliament for over 10 years. The national government, led by the DCC, principal of this college, who is actually our host today, members of the County Assembly of Meru, the grassroots leaders, led by the majority leader, the majority whip, chair budget, chair finance, I hope, the area MCA, plus my other friend, the Minister for Education, Damesta, my team from the National Treasury, I have representative here of the Director General of PPP. Good morning. Is it morning or afternoon? It's on the borderline. It's afternoon. I will request you to do the following. I'll give my official speech. Then, if you allow me, I'll give off-the-cuff remarks briefly. Then, if there is any additional questions, because I will have addressed the questions that have come from your representatives here. But if there is any one or two other additional questions, we'll take that. Hoping to finish by 1, because I wanted to leave by 1. I have another meeting in Nairobi. So, representatives from the University Students Association, esteemed student team members, members of the business community, members of Bunge la Wananchi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again. It is a privilege to welcome you to this pivotal gathering, an occasion that embodies our collective commitment to shaping Kenya's future through transparent, inclusive, and responsible fiscal governance. This marks a deliberate effort by the National Treasury to expand its engagement with the citizenry, particularly the youth, civil society, and the local business community in the management of public resources. I wish to remind us all that this is not just a policy initiative, but rather a legal obligation anchored in Article 201A of the Constitution of Kenya, which mandates for public participation in all financial matters to enhance transparency, accountability, efficient utilization of resources, and value for money in the management of public resources. This process actually builds up from the inaugural meeting, which I held on 10th of December 2025 in Nairobi, where I actually launched the National Budget Students Forum with the sole purpose of embedding a youth-centric perspective into our national economic decision-making processes. And I'll explain why it is important to embody or embed youth-centric perspective in our budget-making process and in all economic decision-making processes. During that launch, we actually committed to engage the youth of this country in their respective regions on matters pertaining to financial management and generally in the public discourse. Further, to align with the recent privatization initiatives, it has been deemed necessary to broaden this engagement to also include the business community and Bunge la Wananchi for a more comprehensive stakeholder participation and transparency. We started with the youth because we were focusing on the budget, and this time we wanted the budget to be more youth-centric. But then because we also have, along the way, brought in the issues of privatization and divestiture from public assets, it became necessary to engage other stakeholders as well. And that is why we have invited members of the business community and even Bunge la Wananchi and other stakeholders like Boda Boda, Matatu, businesses, etc., so that the engagement is broader. Now, since the launch of this exercise, we have held engagement meetings in a number of places. Kakamega for the Western Kenya region. We also had an engagement in Migori for the former Nyanza province. We held an engagement in Eldoret to cover, it was supposed to be covering the North Rift. And we were to have a meeting in Nakuru which did take place for the Central and South Rifts. And yesterday, we were in Kiambu to engage with the people from Central region. Today we are here for the wider Eastern region, and we still intend to be in Garissa for the Northern Kenya region, and finally in Kilifi for the Coast region. These engagements have provided us with an opportunity to highlight the trade-offs associated with allocating limited resources against the numerous competing needs. And even from the conversations we have had here, clearly you can see there are competing needs for our resources. And yet, those resources are limited, as I will demonstrate to you shortly. Therefore, we need to have a trade-off that aligns and attunes to our national priorities. Because the resources are limited, the needs are unlimited. So we must find a balance, how to utilize the little resources that we have to align it to our national priorities. This indeed epitomizes the objective of this exercise, as citizens are better informed about policy choices amidst the constrained fiscal environment. Listening to you, I was wondering whether we communicated well. But since this is the beginning, it's important to start from somewhere. Because I had most of you asking me to tell them what is in it, what is in the budget 2026-27 for them. Yet that is what has brought me here. I have come to listen to you to tell me what you want to be in the 2026-2027 budget. And you are asking me what is in it for us, like it is already concluded, a fait accompli. I understand you perfectly well, because the history of budget making in this country has been one of secrecy, where the minister and his team, the technocrats who have been nicknamed the Mandarins, sit at the Treasury building, the CS at the 14th floor, and the rest of his team occupying those floors. We make figures, we create books, and then you are waiting for one specific day, the budget day, for Mbadi to appear with briefcase held in hand. And you know, zamani hata ilikuwa mbaya zaidi, mheshimiwa. I remember, and I'm sure many of us do, where the budget day was such a sacred day And it was a day where everyone was speculating. In fact, on the eve of the budget day, there were no sales. No one would even sell you sugar, salt, or whatever. No, because they are waiting for prices either to rise or come down. The moment the prices rose, immediately the traders increased prices. But whenever the prices went down, they were still clearing the stock. That used to be the budget day. Now the budget day has changed. First, executive does not make the budget. Executive, through the minister, make what we call budget proposals. And we present the budget proposals 2 months to the end of financial year. By 30th of April, we present the budget to members of the National Assembly, people's representatives, who are the actual people who make the budget. So, right now, what we are doing proactively is to listen to the ground. We are listening to the ground, but this time, tunasikiza ground ya ukweli. So I came kusikiza ground. Ground inasema nini? Where do you want more allocation? And I've heard you. The cry here is number one, education is underfunded. Is that not correct? The summary of what you have aired here, Mheshimiwa, is that education is underfunded. The other one is that our special interest groups need better attention. Okay? So my friend, when I go back, I know I'll look at the budget and see how to take care of the special interest groups. It may not just be persons living with a disability. We know there are more disadvantaged, but there are other disadvantaged groups like the youth, like women. They also have a degree of marginalization. And the elderly, people forget the elderly. I was brought up in a family of the elderly. I was born, my father, I was born when my father was 71 years. 71 years. That's when I was born. And I lived with him until I was 35. The last born. 71 out of 35, that's 106. That's when I lost my father. And I lost my mother not long ago at the age of almost 90. So I know how the elderly can be marginalized and people don't even realize it. Actually, people we also need to attend to seriously are the aging people, because there's a lot that go around them, beginning with their bodies. Anyway, so I came to listen. And fortunately, your representatives were good in presenting the areas of concern. So let me reiterate that the youth represent over 75%. The reason why we are focusing on the youth, our population is over 75% younger than 35 years. So these are people who hold potential to drive our national economic development. If you want to develop this country, you must focus on this percentage, 75%. Our demographics is that skewed. Consequently, their voices must be central to how we plan and allocate resources. This necessitates a shift in public financial management towards inclusive and participatory governments where young citizens actively engage and participate in policy formulation and act as co-creators of our government policies that shape service delivery. We want the youth to be co-creators of our policies so that we don't make policy and give to them. They form 75% of our population. Therefore, we must work with them to create policies. That is when the policies will be aligned to their needs. You cannot be claiming to understand what the youth think if you are not a youth. I know we have passed there. By the way, sisi zote tumekuwa mayouth. It's only that we were youth at different time. fact, siku hizi, when I look at my children who are youth, the way they behave and conduct themselves, the things they prefer, the things they amplify, during our time were unheard of. So we must get them involved. Is when we can understand them. So, over the recent past, the youth of our nation have expressed themselves with clarity and courage regarding the following. 1, cost of living, they have complained. 2, unemployment, it's a concern. 3, need for transparency in governance. 2024, the youth came out to express themselves. By the way, what the youth were telling us loud and clear is that they were first feeling the heat in terms of cost of living. Number 2, that they are not employed. They are coming out of universities. They have exchanged their father's shamba. Their fathers have sold the farms and exchanged with papers which are not helping them. So they are complaining. They are also complaining that the people who are in power are not transparent. That we are not using or utilizing their resources effectively and efficiently. That they don't want corruption, both at the national and the county level. And I'm happy that I represent the national government here. My sister here represents the county government. We must work collectively, both at the national and the county level, to fight governance issues which compromise service delivery to our people. We must say no to misuse of public resources. And that is what the youth have spoken about. So we better hear them, not to condemn our youth. We must hear them, and we must acknowledge that these concerns are not only genuine and valid, but are urgent. Our goal is to move beyond listening as I was doing it there. We must now move and commit ourselves to turning the frustration that we see among our youth into meaningful and tangible progress. This forum, therefore, provides the perfect opportunity to provide our feedback on the necessary actions from the government to address these challenges. Kenya has adopted also, that's the next step I'm moving to, a privatization as a strategic economic policy shift to promote efficiency in the economy by subjecting public services to market forces. So I'll talk about privatization shortly, but let me just mention that this shift aims to improve competitiveness, boost our revenue generation, and support fiscal consolidation. A pathway that would help us in reducing government expenditure on inefficient state corporations and fostering market development through deepening Kenya's capital market. Kenya now is number 2 in Africa, according to the report of last year, in terms of our capital market development, just after Egypt. Our Nairobi Securities Exchange is number 2 in Africa. And we must continue to deepen it to take our rightful position in Africa, which is number 1. This engagement process, therefore, is timely in view of the intensified conversation regarding opportunities privatization offers in contributing to national development through revenue enhancement and containing public debt and easing pressure on our public expenditure. In fact, I'll come to condense the reason why we are going the privatization route, because that is key. Many Kenyans have not understood why we have decided to privatize KPC. And I must be specific on KPC because it is out there in the market. KPC belongs to you and I, belongs to Kenyan. It is your asset. You must understand why we are divesting 65% out of KPC and giving to the public and other players. So this will reduce government's administrative burden by leveraging the market expertise of the private sector. So the National Treasury will in this regard continue with sound macroeconomic policies to enhance resilience and create a conducive environment for private sector, including the local business communities. Let me reaffirm the government's recognition of the critical role the private sector plays, especially the local business communities, how it plays the role it plays in driving Kenya's economic growth through revenue contribution and job creation. Under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the government is implementing measures to create favorable conditions for the growth and sustainability of private enterprise. I can see Mheshimiwa Dahu, you're wondering, Mbadi is talking about bottom-up economic transformation agenda. You know, nowadays I speak it even better than you. Yeah. Broad-based. To enhance the outcomes, I hereby call for closer collaboration between the government and the private sector to unlock growth opportunities, especially in sectors with high youth employment potential like agriculture, MSMEs, housing, healthcare, and the digital and creative economy. These sectors are not only engines of growth, but also platforms of innovation, entrepreneurship, and job creation for the youth. This engagement provides a basis for this collaboration through sharing of ideas and proposal towards this objective. We will therefore endeavor to have a robust collaboration with all stakeholders, including the youth, the private sector, representatives, experts, civil society groups, volunteers, and local communities. So by forging these partnerships and collaboration, the government will harness ideas, skills, and resources of diverse stakeholders to better deliver policies in a more transformative way. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to state here that I was elated to receive a written memorandum outlining some practical measures through which we can enhance financial support for students in tertiary institutions. And I want to mention here all the representatives who have spoken. Kindly put what you have written, what you have said in writing, and submit them to us. And any other person who has ideas, we have a team here who will collect your views, and then we will sit down at the National Treasury to look at your views and your priority areas and accommodate them. We have listened to students just to get to know that our sitting here is not an academic exercise. I will tell you that listening to students when we began, Higher Education Loans Board, the HELB funding in the last year's budget was first 41 billion reduced to 37 billion. Out of that, this financial year, we are proposing to enhance it to 58 billion, just by listening to students. But I want to tell you that I have heard you say that we are not disbursing higher education loans board. We may need to check where the problem is. Because the budget for 2025-2026, and we are in January, the year is ending in June. And this is the fact. The budget for 2025-2026 for higher education loans board was 36,419,870,000. National Treasury has disbursed or funded Kenya shillings 36,419,870,000. Meaning we have funded it in full, 100%. So when I hear that there is delay, I'm wondering, what is this delay? And this was a request from the ministry. The ministry requested us to release the money in full. And we did that because we value the education of our children. Problem maybe is that it is not adequate. And we are working towards improving that. And I will explain to you that we have other competing needs, but we value education. The money that goes to university, is it University Funding Board? Yeah? The scholarship, the one that is modeled around mean testing. Yeah? The budget was 17,158,226,971. Up to date, we have funded 8,579,113,485 shillings. That leaves 8,579,113,485 485, meaning we have funded it 50%. So we are not that late in disbursement, but I may need now to discuss with the Higher Education Loans Board and find out where is the delay. What is the problem? Because the money has been released from the National Treasury. The students are saying we are delaying in releasing the money. So who is not doing the right things? So I wanted to clarify that before I forget. Now, so when we received all this, all the information that we receive is helping us in informing the next budget and also the next budget and also the medium-term budget process. I'm about to conclude or finish with my written speech or official speech. So, furthermore, we are aware of the financial constraints or strains facing our public universities, which impact the quality of education and future prospects of our youth. Our strategy emphasizes increased funding in areas like infrastructure development and curriculum reforms to equip our students with skills relevant to the evolving job market, particularly in 3 critical areas. 1, artificial intelligence. 2, data science. And 3, green technologies and vocational trades. So those are areas that we are focusing on. So during this process, we welcome positive critique of our public financial management systems and policies to shape the budget process. So don't feel shy, say it as it is. No one will look at you like uko na madharau. We have come here to engage, all right? And please deliver your message in your own style. You can never be John Mbadi. You are just yourself, and you cannot be another person. So just deliver it the way you are. Don't fake it, yeah? Just speak to us. I may disagree with you, but you have the right to say what you are saying. So your active engagement in this process guarantees efficient and transparent use of public funds, ensuring that public resources achieve their intended objectives. I wish to urge for your concerted effort to enable us build a Kenya where opportunities are accessible to all, where youth are empowered to lead, and where our collective aspirations become reality. Together, we can forge a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient nation. That is where my official speech ends. Thank you. So now allow me to engage without being constrained with this official speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to appreciate where Kenya has been and where Kenya is today in terms of our economic capacity as a country. Let me tell you, in 2021, 2022, and Honorable Dawi is aware, IMF had predicted that 6 countries in Africa were going to default in paying their debts. You know, from 2014, we have had accelerated uptake of debt in our country. Well, for some good reason, because we decided to expand our infrastructure, to be able to have an infrastructure foundation that would help the economy to leap to the next level. However, most of the infrastructure projects that we invested in are either long-term, some have a payback period of about 20, 30 years. Some were also not well thought out, like the SGR hanging somewhere with low economic value. If probably we extended SGR beyond Naivasha to the border with Uganda, it would have brought more economic gains to the country than where now it is hanging. So our debt level had reached that as unsustainable level. And we were predicted that we would default. And countries have defaulted. Today, as I was coming, I was reading Business Daily, how Ethiopia is struggling as we speak to get out of that trap. In fact, now they are being dictated to. As an economy, there are 2 countries, China and France, are cheering to get Ethiopia out of that mess. By the way, Kenyans, many of us don't know what defaulting means. When you default in repaying your debts, it is a serious thing. And the first thing that would happen would be IMF would be in town. And this time round, they will not be coming like they always come to discuss with us. No. They will be coming to give us orders and ultimatums. They will come and tell you, see, you are already in shit. Mmejiingiza kwa matope. For us to help you come out of this matope, there are conditions. You will reduce your civil service by, say, 50%. You will reduce the salaries of all staff by 50%. You will reduce all elected leaders by 50%. MCAs, 1,450 wards must come to 700 and something. MPs from 290, 145. I'm giving you examples of what they would demand. These your counties are too many. 47, too many. You must merge them. Tharaka Nithi must merge with Meru and many other things. Those are examples of what could happen if we defaulted. And by the way, we were about to default. Why were we about to default? Because the previous administration did not see sense in organizing post-election period because they were going out anyway. So they didn't care. There is a bond, Eurobond, that is coming for payment in June 2024, and they did not, there was no plan. And it is $2 billion US dollars, which is equivalent to 260 billion Kenya shillings. No one cared. The administration that came into office also had problems. They were looking at the debt coming up for payment, but they have no solution. They have to pay salary. Counties are calling for money. Otherwise, they would shut down. Capitation in schools is needed. Health must be taken care of. So everybody was in panic, but we didn't know what to do. Around that time, you'll remember, if you went to the bank to get dollars, you could not get the dollars that you wanted if you went to buy dollars. If you had your son or daughter or your brother schooling out of the country, in the US, Australia or whatever, and you wanted to pay fees, you could not get the dollars you wanted. It was a sorry state of affairs. Fortunately for Kenya, the market opened and they managed that liability. And that is why last year we decided never to be careless again. Another Eurobond was coming up for payment in 2027 May. We decided to pay it last year by February. Another one is coming up for payment in 2028. We had a choice to be careless again and say that is after election anyway. We'll have won our second term. But whether we are going to win the second term or not, it is important to prepare and live an economy that is functioning. Because even if you leave office, I leave office today, I will still live in this country. And an economy which has failed, no one is safe. Even if you have wealth, that wealth will sublime and will never be there in a short while. Even if you have property, who will live in your houses? Who will pay you rent in a failed economy? Where salaries have been reduced by half, where people have been retrenched. So we must know that this is our economy regardless of positions that we hold. I know second term tutapata. I have no doubt about it. Two term is real. I have no doubt about that. It is real. Tutapata hiyo. Tutapata. Hiyo tutapata. But this is not the time for that. What we have today is to prepare ourselves as a country for posterity. That is why we decided by September to liability manage the debt that is coming in 2028. Therefore, as we speak today, we don't have debt pressures up to 2031. That is why the other day on Thursday, you saw Moody's, which is one of the globally reputed firms, upgraded Kenya from CAA1 to B3 and said now in the short term we don't have debt risk as a country. We are no longer in that debt risk, assessed by other people. All right? Simply means that now we are a country that people can do business with. And they have said now we have a stable economic outlook. We were at negative, then we moved to positive. Now we are stable. Hata kama wengine wanasema this government is doing nothing. Even let's assume we are doing nothing. But getting the economy from near collapse to stable, is that not something? Now it can be built on. Hata kama si mimi. Dawood will build on it. Tomorrow you will be the CS National Treasury. You can now take over from me and build on it. Now, you people, that is where we were. And the inflation in this country was hitting double digits. The reserves were not there. Foreign exchange, shillings was trading at 160 to the dollar. Today, where is it? 130. The most stable currency probably in the world is Kenya shilling today. People have tried to question, but we are telling them, why do you question? And the evidence is there. We have built reserves, 5.3 months of import cover, and we need only 4 months of import cover. We have 5.3. There is stability. Everybody is seeing it. Those who are assessing us, who had already downgraded us, are saying we are picked up. Is that not something? So, you see, because of those challenges, we had an economy that was struggling. Yet you have needs. Let me give you another example. If you want to know that things have not been easy in this country. My friend, we are collecting, last financial year, we collected 2.4 billion. Let's call it 2.5 because it was close to 2.5. Trillion. Trillion, not billion. Trillion, 2.5. Out of that, 1.1 trillion is going to debt service cost. We are servicing our debts with 1.1 trillion. That leaves you with only 1.4 trillion max. And our salaries today, the salaries of national government staff that we all earn, those of us who are working in public service, we spend 80 billion per month. That is 960 billion per year. From 1.4, you are remaining with only 400 and something, about 440. The counties, my sister here, they are shouting at us. We are underfunding them. Yet we gave them 415 billion. It looks a lot, but ni kidogo ukiangalia mahitaji ya counties. And by the way, I am a strong supporter of devolution. And I know we should fund counties much more. 415 is not enough. But for the sake of this discussion, imagine the 440 that Mbadi remained with, nimepeana 415 to counties. Sasa imebaki ngapi? 25 billion. 25. That is what goes to development. That is what goes to when DCC want to put fuel in his car. You, 25, the whole country. Yeah, just it. So, and that is the money we need to give you for capitation in schools. That's the money that we should give for help. So for us to develop this country, we go out there to borrow money. So we have only two choices. To tax you more or borrow more. Those two choices are closed. Borrowing more is not an option now because every country is inward looking. America is America first. Europe is looking for how to survive. America has left them. Russia and the EU is threatening the existence of Europe. Will they think about their security or to give you money for medication and for capitation in schools? There is no money out there. America does not have it. Even China does not have free money. If they have to give it to you as a cost. Europe does not have free money anymore. So there is no money to borrow out there. If you go for borrowing Eurobond, the prices are there. The interest rates are high. Taxes, you have been taxed mpaka hapa. Kenyans don't want to hear of taxes anymore. Ama namna gani? So what options are left? Nyinyi mnasema, msiuze our assets. How will we develop our roads? How do we do that, JKIA? Kenya is one of the worst airports in the region, and we are the leading economy. We are the biggest, largest economy East and Central Africa. A tiny economy like Rwanda has developed their airport. We are almost losing our logistics hub status. The UN, which gave us the logistics hub status, will take it away with consequences, because we cannot develop JKIA. My friend, that airport must be developed. It must be modernized. We must look for money. Hii maneno ya kuweka KPC kama souvenir, tuachane naye. KPC is not souvenir. It is our asset. Once it has matured, remember in 2009, Kibaki government, the cabinet of Kibaki had approved that we should privatize KPC. Siasa ndogo ndogo ikachezwa, tukawachana na hiyo. Maybe it was waiting for Mbadi to come. We privatized KPC. You people are complaining. Is this the first time we are privatizing assets in this country? Kenya Re was privatized. Kenya Commercial Bank used to be owned by government 100%. Kibaki government privatized it. Safaricom, we used to own it 100%. Moi released 60%, 40%. So, Kibaki government released 25%. That is 65. That is why today we have 35. When we want to release 15%, noise. Why? Is it because it's Mbadi who is in office, and not Kimunya? When Kimunya released 25%, why didn't you make noise? Uhuru did not release any. That is why we have these debts today. KenGen, we released some of the shares. KenGen is now performing better. Safaricom is now doing much better than when the government held 100%. It's now the leading, the most profitable company in Africa, or in the region, in our region, East and Central Africa. Safaricom. If we held more shares as a government, it would still be struggling there with government bureaucracies. The profit that now, the dividend that we are getting from Safaricom today is many times more than what we used to get when it was 100% owned by government, and we are owning 35. When we release 15, 20% may even give us more, because these investors will bring in more capital into it and expand it even in other countries. So, my friends, hii kitu mnaambiwa ati wanauza. First of all, government is not in business or doing business. The government should provide a platform for private sector to thrive in doing business. I keep on telling you that government already owns 30% of your business. Hata ile kiosko yako hiyo kiosk una hold. We have 30%. And you pay us first before even you pay your staff. Ile pesa unapeana serikali, before you pay yourself unapeana serikali tax, whether you like it or not. So we don't need to struggle with you over dividend. Chukua dividend ukae naye. Mimi, give me tax. We run the government. So now what we are doing with Kenya Pipeline is that we are offering 65% of it for privatization. We are retaining 35. The 65% that we are releasing, 5% of that 65 will be to staff of Kenya Pipeline. 15% will go to oil marketers, both local and external. because oil marketers are the largest, biggest stakeholders in KPC. We want them to have a stake. 20% will go to institutional investors, Kenya. That is pension funds like NSSF or PSSF. We have mutual trust funds. We have insurance companies, those who want to buy but are corporate. Then we have 20% for you and I, the ordinary people, to invest. Then we have 20% for our brothers and sisters in the East African region. We are targeting more particularly Uganda because they are interested in investing here. Uganda provides revenue to KPC of 32%. 32% of KPC revenue comes from Uganda market. That is not a market you can ignore. So we are offering them about 20%. Let them have a stake here. Let them have their representative in the board so that they can have more confidence and continue doing business with us. They shouldn't look south to Tanzania. Should look east. Right? We are giving them 7% of their petroleum products we are transporting to Uganda. 3% comes from Dar es Salaam. We want 100% even. And then now 20% will go to other investors globally. But the bulk of this is still going to be owned by Kenyans. When we get the money, and we get money from Safaricom, we are projecting to raise 106 billion. And if you see how Ugandans are excited, actually they were very angry that we only allocated 20% to East Africa. And Kenyans are still hesitant. Ugandans are very excited. I was there up to yesterday. I came from Uganda yesterday. They're very excited. They are pushing us, we should increase that percentage. But we told them we have our capital markets authorities, rules and regulations, which cannot allow that. And the national interest. So, if we get this 106 billion, and we are getting 244 billion from Safaricom, that is 350 billion. We will put this money in the National Infrastructure Fund. We are not going to use it to pay salaries. We are putting it in a fund that is going to develop commercially viable national or public infrastructure project. Let me move to conclude. So what happens? What happens is that we will not tax you more. What happens is that we don't want to take excessive loans in going forward. But we will not tax you more. In fact, we are thinking now of reducing taxes. So let me announce this here, that we have agreed with His Excellency the President that low-income earners in this country should be given a reprieve. We have agreed with His Excellency the President. He has directed me to take to Parliament a proposal. I'm not even waiting for finance bill to come in June. I am taking tax laws amendment bill to Parliament. Once Parliament resumes, we are preparing that bill. Take to them to approve so that any Kenyan, and by the way, how many Kenyans are salaried? About 3,065,165 Kenyans. Out of these 3 million, 1.5 million Kenyans are earning 30,000 shillings and below. 30,000. 30, like this. Mheshimiwa, just look at your salary and mine. And imagine that someone who is earning 30 and myself, that government is coming for our money, both of us. So we have said government should come for my money and leave the person who is earning 30,000 alone. So any Kenyan, if this law, and I'm sure, I don't think there is any mad MPs in Parliament who will oppose that. Anyone who is earning 30,000 and below in Kenya should not pay as you earn. you pay 0. And then there's the next bracket. We are reducing the tax rate for those who are earning between 30,000 and 50,000. We are reducing the tax rate because already if you are earning from 33,000, you pay 30%. 33,000 going up, you pay 30%. We are reducing that also, that bracket between 30,000 and 50,000. So you only pay 25%. We reduce that by 5%. So those who are earning 50,000, first you will benefit because your first 30,000, you pay 0. Then the next 20,000, you pay 25%. We are trying to put some money in your pocket. Because you are complaining. Are you not complaining that you don't have money to buy things? That demand is shrinking. So, and many Kenyans, by the way, that's another 244,000 Kenyans. So we are trying to give a reprieve to 1.7 million Kenyans. And now, we look for other Kenyans out there who have not been paying taxes to also pay tax. If you know you are making 100,000, just because you are not on payroll, you want to always run away with 100,000. Yet, you are also using the roads like that salaried person. Are you not being unfair? So, the other people, and we will come to you, softness. Taxation is not military. So Kenya Revenue Authority will just use the system. Wakikuona uko mahali na utaki kulipa tax, they will tell you, we have seen you. We may not go back, but start paying tax. Many of us here own apartments, and you don't even pay rental income tax, which is 7.5%. Please start paying. Utapatikana hivi karibuni. Now we are integrating the system. Hiyo records yako iko lands. Na kama iko lands, unalipa stima. Unless you stop paying electricity, we will get you. Na hata kama ulipi stima, unalipa maji. Na kama unalipa stima, si unalipa stima kwa nyumba, either unaishi ama rental. Kama unaishi kwa nyumba, hakuna mtu atakusumbua. Lakini kama ni rental, peana 7.5%. It's not even a lot. You are earning 100,000 from an apartment. We are only coming for 7,500. That is a tax. Give us that money. Imagine, you people should be paying us between 82 billion and 100 billion, and we are receiving only 17 billion. The rest of the burden, you leave to a teacher who is earning 30,000 to carry that burden for you. Now wewe unapata rental income hapa, ingine, in a month you are getting 300,000. Unakula yote. Na mwalimu ana earn 35,000, payslip ikirudi ni 12,000. It is not fair. So we are telling these people who are earning 30,000, nyinyi tunawaondoa. Wacha wale wanapata pesa mingi kama Mbadi, tulipe hiyo ushuru. If anything, hiyo salary napata sini yenu. Even if you don't pay tax direct, as pay as you earn, si utanunua sukari, bado utalipa tax, na hiyo ndiyo pesa inalipa Mbadi mishahara. So wacha Mbadi arudishe kono. I should be taxed properly. Hiyo mshahara yangu karibu 1,900 na kitu ikatwe properly. 200, 300 yende kwa serikali. Si ndio? To educate people, capitation. To educate, tupeana kwa help. So we are going for, actually let me conclude. By the way, the principles of taxation dictate that you should tax wealth. Number 2, kama pesa ijatosha, then tax income. but never tax trade. So we are trying to avoid taxing trade and reducing taxation on income, but tax wealth. Mshahara inafika mahali mheshimiwa, sasa inakuwa it beats income, it becomes wealth. Sasa kama una earn mshahara ya milioni 5, honest, hiyo ni income. Hiyo ni return on employment kweli. Na uko tu na kichwa moja kama watu wengine. Hata kama ni stress, I know there's too much stress. But hiyo sasa ni wealth. So we are coming for just taxing wealth. Just tax wealth. Those who can afford, they tuna tax. That is what most countries do. Hey, I think I've talked a lot. Have I spoken to anyone in the room? So those of you who are saying, hii serikali ya Ruto imeweka ushuru juu, you should understand where this government found the economy. It was terrible. But we have agreed with the president that now that things are getting better, let's give it back to the public. Let's give back to those who are earning low income. Let's reduce taxes on the people. So this is the beginning. If we see our economy is even doing better, we will even go for VAT. Why not? See, we told you we will reduce salaries, we reduce VAT, we reduce corporation tax, corporate tax. We will go for that. But let's start with this low income earners. We remove the tax. By the way, if you check someone who is earning 50,000, that if you calculate that tax and about 2,000 more, if you go to the bank and you find you have earned 2,000 and more, so, to someone who is earning $1 million like me, that is nothing, isn't it? But to a person who is earning 50,000, it is a lot. Ama namna gani? So that is what we are doing. I don't know whether I've addressed, let me address some of the questions that you asked me quickly. Then I think Mheshimiwa, on the issue of the dwelling of the road, I'm following it up, why it has taken inordinately too long. We are intentional. DG, I've answered you. We are intentional in reducing taxpayers' burden. Very intentional. I think I've addressed health issues and addressing student finances to reflect on inflation. I've just told you that we are likely to put more budgets under higher education loans board and even on the scholarship. Delay in funding, I've addressed that, including TVETs. Increased levy on spare parts. This we may need. Please put forward this proposal that you are asking us to reduce levy on spare parts for motorcycles. Lakini tukireduce, najua mtanunua motorcycles, tafadhali you also behave well. Wacha kutumaliza bwana. Motorcycle riders, I don't know, many of you are not even going for training. Mnabeba watu, mnatuangusha. People, the money that we spend in our health facilities to treat people who are involved in the accident is too much. So talk to your members, but the government, I agree, must come in strong to bring order in our public sector space, transport space. And give civic education, I agree. What plan? I think, Wycliffe, you asked me plans. I've told you, it is you to suggest what you want to be done for you. Then we look at our budget. Leonard, we will follow up how the funds channeled through council is utilized. And I know there was a proposal to have a location for medical to persons living with a disability. I'll check if there's a specific line with SHA on this. And of course, education. I think that's it. Registration of PWDs. I have noted. In summary, I sat here and I took notes. I did not even trust my people. I was writing myself, because what I write with my hand, with my pen, it's easy for me to understand what was actually said, as opposed to what other people write for me. So I want to stop it there and request you that we take maybe 3 questions, 3 burning questions. Hey. But when I give you, it's 1 question and it is 30 seconds. Now, Malese, don't build a story. I am sharp enough to understand you quickly. I'll start with the lady at the far end. Wangapi wanataka kuongea hapa? Now, my friend, you are intimidating me. Give it to him after that, because you are standing, the rest are sitting. I'll give MCS after 2 or so. Wacha niende nyuma. You know, if you laugh with me, I'll give you chance. Now, your teeth is wide open. Your mouth is wide open. Wewe, umeshinda huyu. So the guy who has laughed with me, no, the gentleman. I've given the lady, then you, then him. Yes, go ahead.
All protocol observed, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Barbara Simiu, a student at Meru University.
Kindly pull your, put microphone.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My name is Barbara, a student at Meru University. So I'll start by appreciating Honorable Mbadi for the good work he's doing for the public participation as enriched in the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and the committee at large. So my question is, for a youth who has a company, how can he or she access the government tenders, given that out here we are being told that only people in government can access shares? Thank you.
Did I get the question? Although you people are clapping, can you repeat the question? Am I the one who is slow?
Okay.
Because everybody is clapping and I didn't get it well.
Okay, my question is, for a youth who has a company, how can he or she access government tenders, given that out we are being told that only people in the government can access government shares? Tenders.
Government tenders. Those who?
For youths who have companies.
Yes.
How easily can they access government tenders?
Yes.
Comrades Tibim, Comrades Tibim, Comrades Ria, Comrades Zaga Zaga. Thank you, FCPA, CS, Honorable John Mbadi Ngongo. I stand here on the clarion call that Jesus Christ said, give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So first, I want to appreciate you, Bwana Waziri, for the good lessons that you have told us. One, I want to retaliate and emphasize that us as the youths, we want the privatization of the KPC and the Safaricom to be done, because we want more finances for our future generation, and even your grandchildren will want this finance to be channeled into development. And secondly, Bwana Waziri, you know, as you said, the budget used to be as sacred as the Ark of the Covenant, but now you are engaging us, and we want to thank you for that. Lastly, Bwana Waziri, before I sit down, I have comrades here that I worked with who are not on the list. Comrade Mko, about 50, Bwana Waziri, ukitupanga hapo comrade waziri asikuje, comrade alale njaa, tutakuwa tuko na shukrani. The call inasema vizuri, mgeni akikuja mwenyeji apone. So thank you so much, Waziri. And lastly, my question. Waziri, lastly, these comrades here, we have what we call Vijana Economic Front, which is for comrades in these institutions that are here. We normally do car wash. We wash cars for the MPs here and our lecturers. would wish to get your support. We have a proposal with our secretary there so that we can buy 2 or 3 machines that can help these comrades wasake tonge. Comrades power! Comrades ria! Alafu bwana waziri usitishwe. Sisi kama comrades wa Meru tuko nyuma yako, na nikikuangalia hivi hapo 2032 kuna venye nitakuangalia na macho mzuri. Waziri 2 term. Thank you so much and God bless you.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, Bwana Waziri, I'm Wesley, a former student here at the Meru National Polytechnic. Mine is so simple, it's a question about the public debt. So I'm not convinced and have not understood well why we still need loans like the one you got from the bank from China the other day. I still do not understand why you still need to get loans, and yet you have explained so well why you have privatized the companies, and Kenyans like us who make very less are willing to live within our means so that we can satisfy the other loans before from the other regime. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I gave three chances. Maybe I'll try if I can get another 3. And that will be it. So just sit down, I've seen you. Access to government tenders. I know there's a legal framework in place reserving 30% for AGPO, these special interest groups, women, youth, the PWDs, and now we have added the elderly as the marginalized. But a lot of times what happens practically is the people who win these tenders, PWDs, youth, women, are not the people in those categories. You find one person has registered a farm, I have PW, and they tell people like me, they tell me, you know, help us. I have all the farms. If you want PWD, I have it. I have the one for the youth, I one for the women. Our system has been compromised. So, 2 things. We are tightening the rules to make sure that only people who are in those categories register the farms. But e-procurement is another way. I know many people don't like this system. But the moment this system will pick up, you will find that it helps us in dealing with this interference. Because human beings being what we are, even if we try to tell you we will do this, we'll do this, you find so many of us don't want functioning systems because we get compromised by the people who are doing those things. So the best way is remove or reduce to the minimum human interaction with the procurement system. The moment you reduce human interaction with the procurement system, then you make it more efficient and you make it more accountable. That's why I've been pushing this e-procurement. This first year it has struggled, but I am sure when we get to 2026-27, now it will pick up without excuses. By the way, many institutions are now using e-procurement perfectly well. The noise has gone down. In fact, some people wanted to blow it out of proportion, that, you know, we are not even absorbing development expenditure because of the system is frustrating us. You go and check our absorption of development expenditure part of the budget. The first half of the year, we only failed to absorb 33 billion, what we were supposed to absorb, which is one of the highest since. Because all the time, development expenditure is absorbed, it's not absorbed 100%. So where is this lie that e-procurement is stalling procurement? It is in the minds of people who want to still continue with a system that is compromised. That is the truth. I know we gave some exemptions. Next financial year, I will not give those exemptions. Everybody must roll into e-procurement, so that we help people who don't know who knows who in government. You must know who knows who. Muache kusumbua mheshimiwa hapa ati unataka tenda. You go to the internet and you apply for tender, you get it, you can see whether you are losing or you are getting. Wacha kusumbua DG here ati unataka county tender. Wacha kunisumbua, wacha nifanye kazi yangu National Treasury. Do the tender, use the system, use the tender. If you are losing, you are seeing. If you are not, if you are winning and someone is trying to mess up with you, you can shout because you can see it. I think my friend who, the two gentlemen refused with their names. It's only Baba who said her name. But it's okay. I think my friend, you largely spoke in support of privatization, and you ended up by saying that we should reduce borrowing. I agree with you. And that was followed by your other colleague who asked, why are we still taking loans? You know, loans, countries will continue to take loans, but we must take it in line with our capacity as an economy. We have been taking loans that we can't pay, and loans that are too expensive, and loans that are long-term, which are short-term to pay, and putting in projects that are long-term. Sometimes, and a lot of times, we take loans for general budgetary support. You cannot even follow through to see where the loan was used, because it is for general budgetary support. So, with this privatization, we will now have space to reduce the loan uptake. We will start by reducing, cutting down on loans to a point maybe in future we may not need to take loans at all. But what we need to do is to start reducing our budget deficit. So we'll take out the infrastructure projects that are being funded currently in the budget. We take them out and fund them through this fund. That will reduce the pressure. The money that is released, we will reduce the loans and also channel some to social services like education, like health, which are underfunded today, and others like cash transfers or support to the vulnerable of the society. I think now you'll allow me to just give maybe two more. Waheshimiwa, how many of you want to? Can we take two to represent you, the MCA, the area MCA? Then you can converse there, one of you to speak. But hakuna mzee ameongea leo hapa. We cannot marginalize wazee. And I've seen a mzee ameweka mkono juu. Mimi nitampea mzee. Mimi niliishi na mzee, ninawaogopa wazee, ninawarespect. Mzee, wewe ndiye utaongea kwa niaba ya hao watu wote.
Okay, asante sana. CS Mbadi, Minister for Finance, Mheshimiwa Rahim, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex Manyara from Central Inventi. I was sent by Mheshimiwa to represent him because he was far. I have just a few things to mention. Mine is to start by saying, today, Meru is so lucky to have you. We are blessed. We are born again. And we are sure what has transpired today will become a reality, and we are running behind the two-term in the Mbadi Central. Mbadi Central, that is the song every day. The people of Central Mbadi sent me with only one word. They look like a person is standing, the way Mheshimiwa Mbadi is standing. Their roads cut from one side to the other. They have only two. That is the Mati Road and the other road which cuts on the western side. We don't have any road that cuts from the head towards the legs. So the people from west have a lot of problems getting to the east, especially when it is rainy time. We have only started one, which has covered 1.6 kilometers, and that is why the song two-term is all over. In case the other proposed 4 roads are taken care of. That is from Mugitone, through Mojwa, through Kaongo, through Medongo, and then from Kiamori down to the Vice President is taken care of, and the road from Mariene through Ikweta, joining with Mheshimiwa Rahim, is completed, and the one from Kedirone through Kariene, going through Gaito, if the 4 are completed, about the Wachi will be served well. Lastly, there is the Mariene University. Mariene University was awarded 500 million by the President. Sometimes back, we are still waiting so that the university can be completed. Mheshimiwa do something for that one. We have no hospitals. Hospitals in the area, we don't have anything of any level. We are asking that Kidongo becomes level 5 hospital. We have Kaongo level 4, Ndero level 4, and if those ones are given to us, we shall be happy. Those are the few I can ask you for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mzee. I think you have represented very well Central Olimenti Central. What I'll do, I'll have a conversation with the MP to get the names of all the roads. You know, you mentioned them. I was struggling to catch the names, but that I will discuss with the Mheshimiwa. Can we now listen to the 2 MCS?
Thank you, Wasili. My name is Caleb, MCA Municipality. Mine is simple. We are working towards a Meru city. And my question was, what are you doing from your hand, maybe to help the county government towards the dream of achieving the Meru city? Because we know the equitable share that you said it was from 5.1 to 415, that is across the counties. But from your hand, is there anything that the government is doing so that now when we come to the people, we'll be able to mention it better as a government? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Waziri. My name is Jim Muchui, MCA for our Koda Adwana, Majority Whip County Assembly of Meru. And Waziri, we have agreed. I do 30 seconds, I give him 30 seconds. He has something burning. My issue is on the issue of...
I've given you 1 minute and him 1 minute.
Thank you, Waziri.
That's generous.
Thank you. So, Waziri, my issue and my recommendation is on the issue of TVETs. You understand that we have TVETs in almost every consistency in this country. And previously we used to have 30,000 capitation from government and also 40,000 from HELP. And the students used to join TVETs, they would pay only 2,000 shillings. Right now, Waziri, the students are paying 13 or other institutions 15,000, those who are joining, and those who are continuing are paying some tuition of 5,000. The Karumo TTI is in my ward, which has been best in the country for the last 4 years, consistently. And we have around 7,000 students there. We normally record 2,000 in the intake, in the initial intake. But right now we have recorded around 100. So what I'm saying, Waziri, in this budget, let's go back to where we were and try to see how we sort out that issue. Because if they continue paying, then these institutions will collapse. And the people have invested heavily around those institutions, and there will be no students there.
Thank you.
Number 2, Waziri, you said on help. Again, beyond, I know you have said many things about help. Beyond the issue of delay, there's a problem. This week I was following something from, for a student in my ward. And the students are allocated money in the system. And the help says they don't have money. And when I followed, they told me unless they get a supplementary budget, that is when that money can be dispersed. So when the money is allocated in the system and the parent knows that the students have been allocated money, wazazi wanajipanga vingine wakijua pesa itakuja. And then that money disappears. It also brings a lot of problems. Finally, Waziri, in this budget, let us concentrate on finishing the incomplete or the stored project. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Waziri and members present. My name is Makasi. I'm the chair budget and appropriation. So I need to speak out on Mbadi about Kazi Maju. Kazi Maju mostly that encompasses those who qualify with the technical skills. So I want you to incorporate in the budget money for this, because when I reach out to the agents, they want us to pay like 240,000 when there are jobs. These students can be able to raise money to get passports, but they cannot raise money for the agents. So I want you to consider in your budget, please appropriate money in the budget to help them to get air flight tickets and to pay the agents. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll agree that we can end it there, because we have overstretched it. Na tujakula. So I think we need to end it somewhere. I think the reason why TVETs are now struggling is because of the expansion. The TVETs were not as many as they are now, and we are still expanding, which is a good thing. So what we may need to do is to look at our priorities and see how to allocate more resources for TVETs. Again, bear in mind that we have limited resources. Unless you want us to take more, which I don't want to agree with. So we will add money to support TVET education, but it may still leave us with a gap. So we need to check how to reprioritize. But I've taken note that that is a valid concern, that we need to allocate more resources to TVETs. And I can't agree with you more. We need to complete the incomplete projects before now we start new ones. Kazi Maju, yes, there is intention to allocate some money. Actually, I think we may allocate some money even in the supplementary budget to support that initiative. We have already had a conversation with Mutua, the CS, and I promised him that we would put some allocation in the supplementary budget. And going into the main budget, I'm sure we will put more resources to support those who are getting opportunities and is being hampered. And you know, these ones are better, because if we don't do this, then we are creating opportunities for those other people with bad intentions who are taking our children to Russia in the name of helping them. It's a very sad thing. I'm sure you people have been following these stories. It's not something to be happy about when Kenyans are being taken, being misled to go to funny places to fight a war they don't know, whose origin they don't even know, the name of looking for greener pastures. So if we can give more capacity to government for this formal, this structured way of getting Kenyans to get employment, the better. So I agree with you on that. Si ni kama nimejibu kila Yes. Yes.
For the interest of time, my name is Elias Murega Julius. I'm the CEC in charge of youths and sport. And I'll go straight to the point because my boss, I believe, had spoken much. Mimi ndio tulikuwa napanga hii kazi na Osborne Yogo is my friend. To the point, can you confirm, Waziri, about Kenoru Stadium? Kwa sababu Kenoru Stadium, as the people who are in sport, hiyo uwanja saa hii ni dry. Now, there are a lot of things that have been said before, and it is now under Sport Kenya, na bado haijafika kiwango as per the MOU we had with the county government. Number two, there is the narrative imekuwa ikiendelea na wengi wameona kwa social media. Can you confirm why is it very hard about the bursary being brought together, watoto wasome for free? Kama it is possible, ama ni nini na kuangwa shida? And finally, the cost of implementation ya project inakuangwa very high. What I mean is a project ya 1 million, for example, in either national ama county, lazima iwekwe 16% Tukiweka profit margin ya 20%, administrative ya 5%, ile inafikia mwananchi inakuwa ni kitu kidogo na wanaona ni kama serikali inawaiba. How can you reduce the cost of implementation through a policy framework? Asanteni sana and may God bless you.